Namo Buddhaya, Venerable Dr. Dhammapala, brother and sister in the Dhamma, welcome back to POYA Uposatha Day. For those who just joined our program today, a very warm welcome to you. My name is Rachel, will be the MC for this session 2, which is afternoon sessions. This is the program actually organized by Metta Lodge, Pusat Buddhist Johor. My name is Rachel, and I'm very honored today to introduce Venerable Dr. Dhammapala, which is also our religious advisor for Metta Lodge. Let's put our hand together in Anjali and give 3 bounds to respect Venerable. First bound, second bound, third bound. Bhante, may I have the permissions to proceed?
Okay, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante. This morning, Sister Yen has already introduced Dr. Dhammapala on the full details. I probably will just stress some of the details. Venerable was ordained as Upasampada Bhikkhu in year 1994. In 15 years studies of Buddhist philosophy, Pali and Sanskrit, and in Sri Lanka and Hong Kong. In fact, Venerable is well known on the Pali and also Sanskrit studies in Malaysia as well. Right. In 2009, Venerable has obtained the PhD in Buddhist studies under the Professor Venerable K.L. Dhammayoti in the University of Hong Kong. Bhante has been appointed as chief editors and also spiritual directors for the Buddhist Door website, and also a visiting assistant professor at the Center of Buddhist Studies, University of Hong Kong. Bhante was the founder and abbot of the Center of Mindfulness in Hong Kong. Whereas back to our homeland, to Malaysia, Bhante was the founder of Brahma Vihara Monasteries and Retreat Center Melaka, and also Buddhivana Monasteries of Sungai Pelek, Perak. I think for the past 1 week, Bhante has been very, very busy because of the important ceremonies of Katana. So this is the busy schedule for Bhante. So very thankful to Bhante of the busy schedule and still willing to accept to guide us for today's Uposatha Day. Sadhu, Bhante. In year 2021, Bhante has been appointed as monastic advisors of Theravada Buddhist Councils of Malaysia. And I'm very honored in the August Nikini New Moon Uposatha Day, Venerable has happily accepted our offer to be our religious advisor of Metta Lodge Buddhist, Pusat Buddhist Johor. Okay, very happy to have Bhante with us. Bhante has been traveling a lot, very, very frequently to conduct meditations, retreats, Dhamma talks, camps to various groups, including youth, teens, adults, senior adults as well, across many countries, including, of course, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China. Venerable is also very active in conducting Dhamma talks and teaching live, even though in the pandemic, where the monasteries is not open to the public, Bhante has been doing a lot on the via the Zoom, via the virtual, in virtual manner, and live in Facebook and also Zoom. Venerable is also giving Pali classes to guide the learning of Sutta. I'm the one, probably one of the learner that benefits a lot. Thanks to Bhante. Okay, this will be a very brief sessions. Today, this afternoon sessions, our highlights will be the Dhamma talk by Bhante later. All right, then we will have a question and answer. We will probably end at 5:30. Then all the members are encouraged to continue on the self-practice on the meditations. Not forgetting later we have 7 o'clock, session 3 evening sessions. All right. So without further ado, I will just highlight some of the significance of POYA Uposatha as Sister Yen has introduced quite a lot or give a lot of information on this. So POYA Uposatha is really meaningful. In last new moon Uposatha, we already mentioned, is the November that is raining seasons, and it's very important because that really helps a lot on the agriculture and the plantations. All right, and besides that, it also marks the end of Katina celebrations. Yeah. In this very auspicious day, also the whereby the Buddha exhorted to the Buddha to the first Buddhist ministries of missionaries of 60 Arahant is on the same day, whereby they are the first Dhammadutta or messenger to the Dhamma. Another significance will be the ordinations of the three Kassapa brothers, whereby they also attain the arahantship upon hearing of Adiya Pariyaya Sutta, which is the discourse on the all in fames. Yeah, there are many others very significant on the POYA Uposatha. Probably I highlight on the Bodhisattva Metta, whereby receive the Niyata Vivarana from Gautama Buddha. After obtaining the permissions from the Buddha, it's actually obtaining the Parinibbana, Arahant Pariputta, visited his heretic mother. Upon hearing this discourse, the mother actually attained the Sotapati, Sadhu. After being of the service to many, including his own mother, Arahant Sariputta attained the Parinibbana on this very auspicious day, that is full moon POYA day. All right, so these are some of the significance. Thank you to our chairman, Brother Lim, for all the compilations of this significance of POYA Uposatha. So without further ado, I will pass to Bhante to proceed on the Dhamma talk. Bhante, over to you.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, Namo Buddhaya. So we will discuss the topic on the cultivation of meditation for immeasurable thoughts. 所以今天我们会来看这个修习禅定是无量心。So we are living in the world full of sensual desire, right? And ordinary worldling, ordinary people flows with the current of desire. And worldlings also seek this mundane happiness, pursuing non-stop the worldly desirable object. However, worldling can never be satisfied at all. And if these desirable objects are not obtained, right, the thought of ill will and harmfulness will arise. So the Buddha's teaching of renunciation says quite the opposite things, right? The desire has to be abandoned, not because it is morally evil, but because it is the root of suffering. Therefore, renunciation from craving becomes the key to happiness, to be free from the whole of attachment. So here, I'm going to quote several suttas on the cultivation of meditation. Okay. So there are 5 different aspects of this subject. Okay, so one is the inclination of the mind, right? And then the wretchedness of anger, 5 ways of removing annoyance, the path to the company of Brahma, and suffusion with the divine abiding. Okay, so here you have the references. OK， 那我们生活在一个非常充满欲望的一个社会里面就是生活，所以呢，一个还没有解脱的人就是凡夫呢就会跟着这种的欲望随波逐流那么自认为可以感到满足的事物来追求这个快乐所以呢，我们一旦无法得到这个获得呢，得到满足呢，我们一般就会升起这种的嗔恨跟这个恼害，所以呢，佛陀呢才会说这个欲望呢是苦的根本所以呢，佛陀的教导教导离欲 ，OK， 是通往这个快乐的途径就是从这个执着中解脱出来。所以今天呢，我们将会从这5部经典来谈这个修习禅定跟四无量心第一呢，就是讨论有关于心的倾向。那第二呢，就是永欲愤怒者经就是从政治部里面。那第3种呢，就是5种正负嗔恨的方法第4呢，就是梵天共住之道。最后一个呢，就是怎么来扩展这个示范住。Okay, now we look at the first one, the inclination of the mind. That is from the Majjhima Nikaya, Dvedha Vitaka Suttas. Okay, so in these suttas, the Buddha discovered 2 tendencies of thought before his enlightenment. While he was still a bodhisattva, striving for liberation. So he meditated in the forest. He found that his thought distributed into 2 different classes. In one, he put thoughts of sensual desire, ill will, and harmfulness. Right? In the other, thought of renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Okay, so in these suttas, right, it says whenever the bodhisattvas noticed the first thought, then he understood that this thought lead to harm for oneself and others, that obstruct the wisdom and lead away from nibbana. So in this way, right, he abandoned such thought. 那么在这个中部经就是2类觉经里面有谈到这个心的倾向。所以呢，佛陀在他还没有证悟之前，当他还是菩萨就是在这个森林修这个苦行的时候呢，那么致力于这个解脱的时候呢，他发现他的思维有这2种不同的这个类别。那这2种的类别呢第一就是将他的意念就是放在这个贪欲、嗔恚跟这个恼害。另外一个呢就是放在处理贪欲无嗔恚无恼害之上，所以就有2类。所以呢，佛陀呢在他还没有觉悟之前呢，他注意到呢，当他第1类的思维在他心中升起来的时候呢，这些思维导向他的伤害就是阻碍障碍他的智慧所以远离这个涅槃。所以菩萨呢如此的审查，那将这种的思维呢从他的心中断除。Okay, so this is the first thought. Then the second thought, that is the thought of renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Okay, so this is a second thought. So he knew that these second thoughts are beneficial, right, conducive to the growth of wisdom, right, is to the attainment of Nibbana. Therefore, he strengthened those thoughts and brought them to completion. 所以呢，在这一部经里面那么佛陀继续的思维第二类的思维就是将他的这个意念呢放在这个离欲、无嗔、无害之上所以呢，他知道这些思维呢是有益的有利于智慧的长养和这个涅槃的证的，所以呢，他增强了这些思维使他们能够在心中里面得到更加的圆满So now we look at this right intention, right? Because in a noble effort path, right, the second factors is the right intention, right? When talking about the right intention, it says this right intention has threefold, right? The first is the intention of renunciation, right? Pali is called the Nekama Sankappa. And the second one is the intention of goodwill, right? This is how he developed, right? Is Abhihapada Sankappa. The third is the intention of harmlessness. That is Avihingsa Sankappa. Okay, if you look at these three intention, right? These three intention, they counteract this undesirable intention respectively. For example, the first one, the intention of renunciation, counteract the intention of desire. Okay, and the second one, right, intention of goodwill, counteract the intention of ill will. And the third one, the intention of harmlessness, counteract the intention of harmfulness. Okay, 所以我们来看，在这个正思维在八正道第二支里面的正思维呢，里面谈到这三方面这三方面呢就是离欲思维、无嗔思维跟无害思维所以谈到这个无欲思维呢，就是对治这种欲的这个思维 ，OK 那第二呢，无嗔的思维对治这种嗔恨的思维。那第三呢，无害的思维对治这种害的思维。Okay, now we look at this. Okay, this is the summary. Okay, when you talk about the noble effort path, right? It can be divided into three parts, right? You have the sila, samadhi, and concentration. Okay, so sila means morality, samadhi means concentration, panya means wisdom. Okay, so you have these three parts. And under the panya aspect, under the wisdom aspect, you have samadhi and sama sankappa. Okay, so these two are very important because you have the wisdom, okay, but of these two, sama, right views and the right thought, then you'll be able to enter into the Srotapanna. Okay, Srotapanna. Okay, so it's very important. So these are the key, right, for you to enter, or criteria for you to enter into the Srotapanna. Right? So now we look at the wisdom aspect of the noble effort path, right? It includes here these two. One is the right view and one is the right thought. Okay, and thought somehow you translate as the right intention. So the main purpose of the practice of these two factors, right, basically, right, is to eradicate defilements. Okay, defilements. So when you talk about the defilements, there are two types of defilements. Okay, one is the defilement caused by the wrong view, right? When you talk about the wrong view, what are these wrong view? It's a wrong view of the self. Okay, so it's sometimes you call it a self view, or it's an extreme view, or it's a wrong view, right? Attached to the view, and the observant of certain precepts and vows, right? Thinking that they are the cause and path to liberation. So these are the wrong views. Okay, so these are the wrong view. So in Buddhism, there is a term for this kind of wrong view, right? It's called the defilements abandonable through seeing. It's called the dasanaheya, right? So these kinds of defilements can be eradicated, through the methods of Vipassana. Right? That's why, Theravada Buddhism, we talk about the practice of Vipassana. What is the purpose of Vipassana practice? Right? It's to see things as they are. When you talk about the see things as they are, it means that you have to see the nature of world is none other than anicca, dukkha, and anatta, right? So this is nothing new to Buddhism, to Buddhists, not experienced meditators, right? When you talk about the Vipassana, and the meditation teacher will teach you, see, this anicca, dukkha, anatta, to see things as they are. So through the practice of Vipassana, you see, we correct our wrong understanding so that we don't attach to this, what we call the upside downers view, okay? Lopsidophy, right? These wrong views, okay? So this right intention, okay, as we have seen just now, right intention, the Samma Sankappa, the second part, is also the second factors belonging to the wisdom aspect. So after abandoning of defilements, okay, abandonable truth seeing, okay, so when you have seen this, when you have abandoned this defilement, you are already entered into the Sotapanna, for example, okay, enter into the Sotapanna. But after becoming a Sotapanna, you still have some other types of defilements not yet abandoned, okay. So what are these types of defilements? In Buddhist, term, we have a term called there is these types of defilements called abandonable through cultivation. Okay, so there is a term called bhavana heya. Okay, so these types of defilements include greed, hatred, and delusion. Okay, so we are talking about this greed, hatred, and delusion. You see, these are the types of very stubborn defilements. They are our habitual tendencies, you see, and this greed, hatred, and delusion carry forward from life to life. That's how we look like. Okay, so that's why we are full of desire, full of anger, full of delusion, and full of pride. You see, so these are very stubborn defilements. You see, so that's why the Buddhas in his teaching emphasize the importance of practice of loving kindness and compassion that can help to counteract these, or to get rid of the anger, evil that arises in us. Even Buddhas, after his enlightenment, he also radiates the thought of loving kindness towards all beings and soften their heart. You see, so it doesn't mean that after becoming an Arya, you need not to practice a loving kindness at all. You see, so this loving kindness is a very important practice for lay as well as for an Arya. OK， 那我们来看第二种就是谈到这个八正道。首先，八正道呢是一个处世间法。那这个八正道呢，它涵盖这个戒、定、慧戒、sila、定、samadhi and panya 慧。那么在这个慧品里面呢，有谈到两个一个就是正见、正思维。那么这两个这个慧品的修习呢，主要还是要来断烦恼的所以你看整个佛教的修行我们讲到这个慧品，哇，我们增长智慧很开心，对不对？一般人就会认为说，哇，你有智慧了，你变得更加聪明了，不是这样的。那佛教讲的这个智慧呢，就是断烦恼你的烦恼断一分，你的智慧就增长一分，对吗？所以不是说，你来修这个智慧禅，你就变得聪明，不是这样的来修智慧禅呢，或者来修学佛法呢，是你的烦恼有没有断了所以呢，讲到这个烦恼呢，有两类了。一个呢，就是一种错误的知见那么这种错误的见解呢，就包括了我见或者是身见边知见邪见见取见或者是借境取见这些都是佛学的这是名相来的 那当然，我们佛教呢就给它一个名字叫做见所断的烦恼啊，就是说这些烦恼呢需要透过这个见来断除它，就是透过正见来断除它啊。所以呢，这一种见所断的烦恼呢，它是透过 vipassana 啊，就是我们说的这个毗婆舍那啊，就是观禅啊，就是能够如是的知见啊世间的本质啊。那世间的本质是什么呢？无非就是苦、无常、无我。好，所以呢，把我们这个错误的这个见解啊，纠正过来啊，不要去执着世间种种的颠倒妄见啊。所以呢，这是第一类 ，OK 啊。假如是你们想了解更多有关于正见的东西其实书本上还蛮多的那第二类的这个正思维呢，它也是属于在这个慧品里面。那这个正思维呢，它跟这个正见不一样那正见呢，它是断有关于错误的知见，而这个正思维呢，它是断有关于所有修所断的烦恼。好，那么什么是修所断的烦恼呢？讲到这个修呢，这个字眼本身呢，就是说它这个烦恼很难断，它要不断的修。OK， 它要不断的修，而这些烦恼很难断呢，就包括了我们的贪嗔痴的这些烦恼所以呢，我们可以看得出来，就是为什么佛陀非常的强调修习这个慈悲的重要因为呢，修习这个慈悲呢，它可以断除我们的这个嗔恨所以你看佛陀成佛之后他每天呢还是要散发这个慈悲心的啦就是以他的这个大慈之心呢，能够照耀众生也能够滋润他们的心田。OK， 所以佛陀既然每天都修禅每天都散发慈心，我们这些凡夫众生呢，更需要更需要。Okay, so now we look at this right thought. Okay, right thought. And there are these three types of right thought or right intention. The first is the intention of renunciation, right? And the second is the intention of goodwill, right? And the third one is the intention of harmlessness. So just now we have seen, right? The Buddha has developed, the Bodhisattvas has developed this intention. That's why, he becomes enlightened, right? So you can see the importance of these three intention. They are very important in our practice, right? Among which the second and third, they're connected with the loving kindness and compassion. Okay, now we look at the first one, right? It's the intention of renunciation, okay? Renunciation. So this is the first one, right? The Buddha says the attainment of liberation, right? Attaining the right, requires the complete eradication of craving, right? And that, of course, requires a lot of individual effort. So since desire is to be abandoned, right? Because desire is a root of suffering, the Buddha says, right? So it wants to get rid of what do you call the suffering. You have to get rid of the desire, right? So because the desire is a root of suffering. That's why this desire is a cause of suffering, right, in the Four Noble Truths. So what is this renunciation, right? Renunciation is not to becoming a monk here in this context. The renunciation here is mean turning away from the craving, right? Once you turn away from the craving, mean you become a happy person. No? Once you turn away from the craving, you can easily get into the concentration, right? The reason we cannot the mind cannot be concentrated, that is because our mind full of desire, right? Full of desire. So when your desire is completely suppressed, so-called, right? Then your mind become concentrated. Okay. Okay. So there are these three benefits of renunciation, right? The first one is purify the conduct. Okay, 就是戒 purifies the conduct. The second one helps concentration. And the third is nourishes the seed of wisdom. So here include three things: sila, samadhi, and panya. So once we cultivate, right, the intention of renunciation, in fact, you are accomplished this sila, samadhi, and panya gradually. Okay, so you can see that the whole of the cultivation is to do with the desire. Okay, so it's not to suppress the desire, unlike in other religion, right? They suppress the desire, right? But Buddha used different method to counteract the desire. Okay, so if there's also another way, right? If we contemplate these benefits, right? That's of course bring us happiness and peace. So the entire, course of practice, okay, from the beginning till the end, is an evolving process of concentration, right, and wisdom. So these are the evolving process of renunciation culminating in Nibbana. So these are very important. So you can see the importance of this intentional renunciation. OK， 那我们再来看在谈到这个正思维在这个慧品里面谈到这个正思维呢，有这3种就是离欲思维，第二呢就是无嗔思维。第3呢，就是无害思维我们会等下一个个来看。我们先来看这第一种思维，就是离欲思维。那佛陀教导的解脱呢，就是要我们完全呢断除这些贪爱的欲望所以佛陀说，这个欲望呢，它本质上呢是苦的这个根本来的之所以我们会苦，那是因为我们有欲望，而这个欲望呢，就是苦的这个原因，对不对？就我们佛教讲的这个苦集灭道这个集就是苦的原因，那就是这个欲望所以呢，有欲望我们就沉沦，对不对？没有欲望呢，无欲呢，就是通往这个快乐所以佛陀教导我们可以透过这3种的方法就是戒定慧来慢慢的离欲达到这个内心的这个平静。所以我们可以看得到的，在整个修行的过程里面就是我们佛教谈的修行，所谓的修行也就是修道就是整个修行的过程从它的一开始呢到完成了我们都要透过这个离欲透过这个戒定慧慢慢的逐次的发展那么达到这个涅槃。所以可以看得到佛教的整个修行的方法很清楚的，对不对？只要你还是有欲望的话呢，那其实你很能开展你的这个戒定慧。So this is the first one, the intention of renunciation. So the second one, the second thought, right, as just now we have enumerated, that is the intention of goodwill. Okay, and of course, when we talk about the goodwill, the opposite is ill will. Okay, it's ill will, right? And this ill will, right, usually is governed by anger and aversion, right? So in many places, right, the Buddhists suggested the Karuna, Metta, loving kindness to counteract the ill will. So which is best expressed is an intense of selfless love, right, or unconditional love, radiating for the well-being and happiness of our being. 第二种这个OK 无嗔思维。那这种的无嗔思维呢，就是对治 OK 被这个愤怒和嗔恨所控制的这个嗔的这个思维了。所以呢，佛陀就教导对治这个嗔恨的这个方法呢，就是这个爱这个慈爱这个慈在巴利文叫做 Metta， 就是散发那种给人家很快乐的不管你是心也好言语也好就是散发那种让人家快乐感觉到跟你在一起呢就很快乐这样子，或者说你讲的每一句话呢都能够让他们心里呢都想到呢都是很快乐回忆起来都是滋滋有味那么 那这一种的这个词呢，就是佛陀教导的，就是对所有一切的众生的爱啦。这种这种的没有自私的爱啊，所以呢，关怀他们啊，然后让他们幸福快乐，那种非常强烈的一种So once we have right kindled the feeling of metta, right, towards one extended to others. Usually, I believe you have learned all this, right? So, especially in the Karuna Metta Suttas, right? It says you have to read, right? So, one suffuses the entire world with a mind of loving kindness. 那接下来呢，谈到的就是一旦可以呢，下一个步骤呢就是扩展到他人。Okay, so as you talk about this living, right, I think the most effective way in the morning, say like you wake up right before brushing or after brushing the teeth, right? You can look at the mirror. And may you be well and happy. You look at the mirror. That mirror is you, right? So you have to be able to radiate loving kindness to yourself. You smile at the mirror. You can see that smiling face can bring you so much happiness. You see, the very first thing in the morning, so much good energy, right? Because of your smile. Then when you look at yourself, right, smile, then you can radiate, try to radiate. May you be well and happy. Okay, so that gives you a lot of energy, a lot of strength, right? At least to overcome all difficulties in life, right? At least today's you. .那么就看这个镜子，镜子干嘛？看自己哪里不漂亮，不是就是呢，对着这个镜子微笑就是这个两嘴呢心开这样子你会发现到其实呢，微笑的你呢是非常的美丽，对不对所以这种微笑能够让你的内心呢更加的这个有能量那么呢，我们对着自己的微笑然后你可以默默的。OK， 愿你没有痛苦这个读出来要不然别人就认为说你怎么来在那个厕所里面自言自语所以呢，对着这个镜子呢，你就散发你的这个慈爱所以呢，这种的方法其实是不错的，但是最主要就是你自己要微笑那你会发现到呢，微笑的你呢是非常非常的有正能量的一个人。Then the third is the intention of harmlessness. Okay, so this is the third right thought. And okay, when we talk about this intention of harmlessness, right, that is a thought with compassion. It's a compassionate thought. Okay, so this compassionate thought, go against the grudgy, aggressive, or violent thought. Okay. So this is a Karuna. So you look at this tree mentioned in this right thought, okay? The second and the third is a practice of loving kindness and compassion, okay? So you can see the importance of loving kindness and compassion, for the eradication of the greed, hatred, and delusion, okay? And of course, once you have become a Shratapana, right, you still remain 7 lives, but you continue cultivate your mind, continue your mind by getting rid of this anger, okay, by cultivating the loving kindness and compassion meditation. OK， 所以第三种的思维呢，就是无害思维了。那什么是无害的思维呢？就是我们由这个悲心所引导的思维就是说，一个人 他的这个悲心很强烈，可以对峙这种暴力的一种思维。所以我们可以看得到的，就是在这正思维里面 ，OK， 那里面有谈到，就是有关于慈悲的修习。所以呢，即使是一个圣者已经进入了比如一个圣者须陀洹，进入了这个圣流，他有7次往返。那在这7次往返的这个过程里面呢，他们要修的是什么呢？其实就是要对治他们由无始界以来在他们的内心里面，还有残存的一些那种嗔啊，那种不良的那种，就是一种习气在哈。所以呢，透过这个正思维可以将这种慢慢的去除掉，这样子。所以呢，很重要啊。So what is the difference between the Metta and Karuna? Okay, so the Metta is loving kindness, right? So simply, this has the characteristics of wishing others, okay, for the happiness and well to be happy, right? And the compassion has the characteristics of wishing that others be free from suffering, okay? That's why in Mahayana Buddhism, right? These loving kindness and compassions are personalized as, I don't know whether you know the Sanskrit word Avalokiteshvara, mean Guan Yin, okay? Guan Yin Bodhisattvas. And another one is Maitreya Bodhisattva, 就是弥勒菩萨 ，OK， 你们叫做大度佛哈，笑佛哈 ，right? So what is Maitreya Bodhisattvas? Usually, if you go to Mahayana temples, right, you will see the Maitreya Bodhisattvas, sitting in front of the main gate, okay, with huge belly, right, sitting in front of the main gate, welcoming people by smile, okay. So of course, people are happy, seeing him in the first place. So at least the moment seeing the smiling Bodhisattvas, the defilements. After you go into the yin, or 观自在. So when you look at the 观自在, you see, because of the expression is full of compassion, you felt like asking help from her. That's why you will kneel down, so expressed your suffering. So Guan Yin, just standing there, looking at you quietly, listening quietly, observing sort of suffering. Okay, so after you talk to the Guan Yin, you feel so much better. Okay, so much better. So it's absorbed. In the Mahayana temple, you find this typical two bodhisattvas that represent the cultivation of loving kindness and compassion. 那我们来看这个持与悲的这个差别啦。这个持呢，意思就是希望他人快乐幸福。那这个悲呢，就希望他人没有痛苦。所以一般我们去这个北传的一些道场他们将这个慈悲的这个精神人格化。什么人格化呢？就以这个弥勒菩萨代表这个慈，观音菩萨呢代表这个悲。你会看到有这2尊的菩萨。那这2尊菩萨呢，我们会看到的第一就是弥勒菩萨了。一般你会去到他们的这个大门前。这个弥勒菩萨呢，就是肚子大大的当然原本不是大肚子了我们华人充满着创意会把这个弥勒菩萨呢塑造成肥肥这样子，然后笑笑这样子，然后呢你看到他你就很开心，非常欢喜的为什么要这样子的一个塑造呢？那就是因为当有这个弥勒菩萨塑造坐在那里笑脸迎人的时候呢，当信徒来寺院参拜那看到这个弥勒菩萨的这个肖像呢，就会感觉到非常的欢喜很自然的这个烦恼呢就会被抛到九霄云外。那么在这个大雄宝殿之后我们也会看到有些寺院它有 有立这个观音像啊。那么观音像这种观音像一般上都是站立的站立的。那他们的目光垂视众生就是慈眼视众生看哪个众生。所以呢，很自然的，当你看到这观音菩萨的时候呢，很多人就会跟这个观音菩萨诉苦人生很苦很苦很苦那你说观音菩萨有没有回你呢？肯定没有但是呢，他用他的耳朵在听你的痛苦所以一般上呢我们华人就会去拜观音那么跟观音讲很多苦等等等等的，讲完之后呢，你就觉得虚浮塞因为观音菩萨呢，就是一种悲的一种代表它能够解救众生的苦难。Okay, so how to develop the compassion? Okay, so the compassion is developed as one of the meditation practice. Okay, and it is very effective, to start with someone who is actually experiencing suffering. Right. So, for example, if the person who has already experienced suffering, you can contemplate this person's suffering, right? Then reflect that person's suffering, right? Like yourself, okay? That they also want to be free from suffering. You also want to be free from suffering, right? So you don't have discrimination, right? So the thought that thought should be repeated, right? And the contemplation continue, exercise until you have that strong feeling of compassion in your heart. So nowadays, right, many disasters and more disasters I heard of speculation will come, right? And of course we have to prepare for it, right? But of course we don't not to be so pessimistic, right? But I think we prepare. We know more and more people will suffer, right? So we can also take this as a model practice, right? Contemplating their suffering, right? Reflecting that like ourselves, they also want to be free from suffering, right? Free from disease, free from suffering. Then in that way, the feeling of compassion will arise in us. Okay, so with that, we feel peace and secure, right? And our mind, becomes, become peaceful. 那我们怎么来看这个有效的这个方法来发展这个悲心呢？那在我们佛教呢，佛陀有教导这个慈悲的这个修习。好，那么最有效的方法呢，修这个悲呢，就是从一个人正在受苦的时候开始吧。我们每天我们都看到很多人在受苦，对不对？其实每个人都是有悲心的尤其是在过去1年多来。我们看到很多人拿着摆旗的时候呢，你就即使是你自己没钱，你都会认为说，我家里刚好有剩1包米我都想把它捐出去，因为你不想别人受苦，对不对？那个是很自然流露出来的一种对众生的这个悲心。所以你可以看得到的，就是因为这样子人在受苦的时候呢，你呢就这人在受苦呢，这个就是一个我们说修这个悲心一个非常自然的一个目标来的就是正在受苦的人所以你可以观想一下这个人因为这个疫情的关系，他可能没有东西吃，对不对？那你也可以，同时你会思维，其实这个人呢他也希望自己有东西吃也希望自己免于苦所以呢你就会很自然的把你的东西也舍出去了，对不对？所以你不断的这样子的一个重复的这种观想呢，慢慢的练习，你的内心呢就会升起一股非常强烈的这个悲心。所以呢，过去1年我们也不知道未来反正呢就有很多不确定性，就会包括我们自己也是一样我们要为自己准备，对不对？就是很多人因为这个疫情或者种种的自然灾害受到这个波及，那要如何在这个乱世保持平静的心呢？同样的，就是刚才我所说的，就是可以视为他们正在受苦的人呢，也跟自己一样，就是都希望可以免除这个苦难。那也他们也想要 平安快乐，他们也想要没有痛苦。所以呢，自然的慢慢我们的内心就会升起这个悲心能够感受到内心的平安，没有痛苦。So here is a summary of contemplation of three intention, right? So it's an intention of renunciation, intention of goodwill, and intention of harmlessness. Okay, so to repeat, right? To develop the intention of renunciation, we have to contemplate the suffering that we experience is really tied up with the quest for the worldly enjoyment. So to develop the intention of goodwill, right, we have to consider how all beings eagerly desire, right, happiness. And to develop the intention of harmlessness, we have to consider how all beings suffered a lot and wishing to be free from suffering. Okay, so these are three things that we have seen. So once we have cultivated these three intentions, right, our mind will slowly incline towards non-desire, with loving kindness and compassion. And that conduces to the development of wisdom and attain the ending of suffering. 所以我们来看，总结一下，就是我们刚才谈的这种思维有3种，也就是离欲思维、无嗔思维跟这个无害思维。OK， 那么为了发展这个离欲思维我们必须要这个观想就是我们所承受的苦呢都是我们不断在盲目的追求世间欲乐的结果。OK， 好。那么第二呢，为了发展无嗔的思维呢，我们也要仔细的思维就是所有的众生多么的渴望得到快乐，对吗？那第三呢，为了发展这个无害思维呢我们也可以这样子的观想，就是所有的众生呢多么的希望自己可以远离这个痛苦所以这个是这3种的思维所以呢，当我们不断的在发展这3种思维呢，我们的内心就会更加倾向于这个没有贪有慈有悲的心那这种心有利于这个智慧的增长Okay, now we look at the second part. 一讲就讲很多了Okay, right. So if one whose mind is easily get angry, okay, then his thought of anger will become the inclination for him. Okay, so whoever he met, he would not have any good wish. So now we look at these 7 thoughts, very evil thought. Okay, for one who has what they call the angry thought. Okay, so here the sutta says, usually an enemy wishes for his enemy. It means that one who has an evil thought, right? He would wish how? Let him be ugly. Okay, so you can see that when someone wish someone, criticizing or cursing someone, let him be ugly. You can see how evil thought he has, how anger he has, And the second one, let him sleep badly. So this is also very bad. It's also very bad thought. And the third one is let him have no prosperity. Okay, so this is also one. And the fourth, let him not be rich. And the fifth one, let him not be famous. Okay, and let him have no friends. And the seventh, let him on the dissolution of the body after death reappear in a state of deprivation, right? In a bad destination, in hell. So you see how bad his thought is, right? So evil, okay? So this is how one with an anger thought, he will wish, this kind of evil thought, to his so-called enemies. 那我们来看就是一个经常愤怒的人就是一个人经常愤怒，他的这个意念呢，其实都是不好的所以我们讲，当一个人他的这个愤怒成为他的一种倾向的时候呢那么呢，他不管看到谁也好，他那张嘴巴都不会有好的这个祝福的 OK， 他看到谁呢就会骂谁，哈，就是怨你睡不好啦，哈，怨你丑啊，哈，怨你没有什么种种利益啊，怨你没有财富啊，怨你没有名声啊，怨你没有朋友啊，怨你下地狱等等等等的。你看他嘴巴有多臭啊，有多脏哈，真的是要不得啊。所以呢，假如说我们每天在这样子的一个生活环境里面呢，那就会变成你的新的倾向。好，那这样的话呢，好，我们离下地狱不远啊，对不对啊？所以呢，这个是我们佛教徒一定要小心的哈，不要让他们成为你新的这个倾向。Okay, now when the third sutta is talking about getting rid of resentment, how to get rid of anger. Here in the Anguttara Nikaya, I talk about five methods. Okay, these 5 methods. I think they are very effective. The first one, right? You should develop loving kindness for a person. You resent. Okay, so just now we have seen the metta has a characteristics of expressing the intense feeling of selfless love or conditional love, right? Unconditional, for the well-being and happiness of others, right? So simply, wishing can be like, may you be well and happy, you see? Just as I have said, probably like wake up early in the morning, make that as an inclination of your mind, wishing yourself to be well and happy in the very first morning. You can smile, right, at your friend, at your face in the mirror, smile at it, may you be well and happy. May you be free from all troubles and difficulties in life. Okay, may you overcome all difficulties in life today. Okay, or may you lead a happy life today. So you see, such kind of message, if you recite it, that make it an inclination of your mind. Okay, so every day you will live like Maitreya Bodhisattvas. Okay, not only that, you also can be a Maitreya Bodhisattvas to others, right? Because other people, when look at you, also they feel your positive energy. They feel happy. They feel happy when associating with you. Okay, so this is the first one, and the second one, you should develop compassion, right? For a person you resent. Okay, now the compassion, right, is that kind of wishing others to be free from suffering, right? So say if someone's scolding you severely, okay, then we can contemplate like that. That is because of his mind also full of suffering, right? And his mind is full of anger. And in fact, he is actually experiencing the suffering, right? So what you can do is probably to contemplate that person's suffering, right? And contemplate that, that person who suffered also wants to be free from suffering, right? So what you can do is to stop quarreling with him. Okay, so you can contemplate like that. When someone scolds you, you can see how suffering it is in his mind. Right, so you can take this time, to radiate your loving kindness, that he, like yourself, also want to be free from suffering. So this kind of thought should be repeated until you have that strong of feeling of a compassion arises in your heart. Okay, so this is also very good. So the third one, you should develop equanimity. Okay, equanimity for a person you resent. Okay. So when a person is suffering, right, in addition to express your sympathy, right, we also have to maintain a balanced state of mind, right, equanimity for all sentient beings, without get yourself agitated, right, so your mind keep in the balanced state, right. Then the fourth one, you should disregard the person you resent, paying no attention to them. Okay. That's easy, right? In fact, not easy. You need a lot of wisdom, right? So if someone keeps scolding you in front of you, right? Of course, the Buddha said, just disregard that person, right? Pay no attention, right? But what does it mean when you disregard someone? You see, that is, you are cultivating the patience. You are cultivating the forbearance, okay? 忍辱you're cultivating the perfection of kanti, okay, the forbearance. You can just take it like, like a wind, just come and go, okay. It won't hurt you. So you can contemplate your mind is like tofu. The tofu, the soft curd, what do you call bean curd, right? So bean curd tofu, it's so soft that a knife, cut into half without breaking the knife as well as the tofu. So we also have to cultivate like that. Keep our mind soft. Whoever scold at you, right? If you cannot, you better keep. You just what do you call? You just keep quiet. Pay no attention to them. So this is the fourth one, and the last one that you should apply the concept of karma. This karma is very important. Okay, that we are the owners of our action. Okay, we are the owner. So someone scolding at you, you can just think like that. That is because in my past life, probably I have scolded him. So now in this life, I reap my bad result. I reap my consequences. So I experience the suffering now. You see, by forgiving them. So that is also a very good idea. So I think I like this idea. You see, the concept of karma. You see. So these are 5, okay, 5 So now we look at the Chinese. 那么有5种断除嗔恚的方法。OK， 嗔恚的方法。那第就是以慈对待一个人正朝着你的愤怒者。OK， 那其实呢这个呢，我们需要每天将这个慈发展，对不对？那只要是一个人对你愤怒的话呢，我们要学习成为你心的一种倾向呢，就是祝福他愿你不要生气愿你不要再怎么讲，再做一些不好的业那希望你平安，希望你快乐那这样的话呢，当你在祝福他的时候呢，其实你的内心也是慢慢的得到一种释放，就是一种软化的作用所以这个很重要。所以呢，刚才我有谈到的，就是每天早上一起来呢你可以做一个很简单的这个慈的休息，看着镜子，然后对着镜子说：愿你心中没有仇怨，愿你心中没有嗔恨，愿你的心中没有恼害，愿你平安快乐所以当我们每天在做这种功课的时候呢，正好有一天人家冲着你来，在你面前呢指指点点，在愤怒的时候呢，你都可以呢及时拿出来所以这个很重要。那第2种呢，就是以悲对待一个正朝着你愤怒的人所以呢，这个不容易一般人就会一拳打过去了然后就上法庭了或者就坐监牢了就这样子就这么简单所以呢，当一个人呢在不断的在骂你辱骂你的时候呢，那你可以观想，其实他的内心是非常的痛苦所以呢，我们要以这个悲心就是祈愿他没有痛苦这样的一个心态来朝着就是朝着你愤怒的那个人所以当然刚才我也讲到了，就是有关于悲的休息，就是他如此的愤怒，如此的这个痛苦呢，你其实也希望说他可以免除这个痛苦免除这个损失，免除这个孤寂，免除这个责备，免除这个苦难那么然后你不断的在重复这种想法持续这样的观想，那么你的内心呢就会对那个人呢不断骂你的那个人呢产生一种很强烈的悲心，其实呢你是对他抱着一种就是一种悲心所以你不会再跟他吵架你也不用回手，就这样。那第3个呢，就是保持一个很平静的一种心态对待那一个冲着你来的人所以刚我们在讲说，当一个人正在受苦的时候当然除了我们对他们的怜悯之外呢我们的内心其实也是要保持一颗很平稳、很平衡的心态就是说什么是指对众生的一种平衡的心态呢？就是不管 发生什么事情我们都能够平静的去接受发生任何的一些事情不要呢整天怨天尤人这是第3种。那第4种呢，就是练习忘掉和不理会，不要去理他，不要去管他那就这种心态是什么呢？就是我们要学习忍辱这个忍辱很重要。佛陀说这个忍辱是一种智慧来的所以呢，透过这个忍辱我也不伤你也不伤我，对不对？我们透过这个忍辱，我们可以慢慢的调柔我们的内心，不要让我们的内心再受到伤害。比如说，我刚才举个例子，就是那个豆腐豆腐，你知道这个豆腐呢，它软软很好吃，软软这样子一把刀斩下去的时候呢，这把刀有受到破坏吗？伤害吗？没有，我们的心也没有豆腐也没有受到这个波及只要是我们把这把刀呢砍在一棵木头上那个硬木刀也坏，木头也伤两败俱伤，就是这样子所以呢，只要是那个人正朝着你的时候呢，而你不受到影响的时候呢，他也没受到伤害，你也没受到伤害讲一下呢，他自动也就离开了，就是这样子所以那以后他也不会再骂你了，就是这样子所以这个也是一种方法。那另外一个呢，就是我们思维这个业力了。思维这个业力，所谓的业力是什么呢？就是说，简单一个例子，比如说，当一个人在骂你的时候呢，当然你内心很痛苦，你可以试试观想，就是那个人骂你，也许在你前世也许你骂过他，对不对？那这一次呢，你要承受你的业，给他骂的业，对不对？我觉得这个概念还蛮好的。那另外一种呢，就是比如说他骂你的话，你要感谢他。怎么感谢他呢？就是他帮你消业障这个概念呢，就我们华人才有，就是帮你消业障你要感谢他这个什么菩萨你帮我消业障我很感恩你那他其实会很生气了，算了吧不跟你吵下去了就是这样子所以呢我们可以呢观察这种，就是透过业力呢观察整个事情的一个前因后果那这样的话我们就可以培养更深的智慧那么我们的内心呢就更能够趋向这个平静。Okay, now we skip the 4th and we look at the 5th, right? This is the cultivation of Brahma Vihara. Okay, Brahma Vihara. Brahma Vihara means the divine abiding. Okay, so this 4 Brahma Vihara is Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. Okay, so you see now we are living in the world full of uncertainty but anyway we have to prepare for it. Okay, whether good or bad, it's okay, we prepared for it. Even good, we are not happy, bad we are also not sad. You see, keep the mind of equanimity, right? So as a Buddhist, how do we cope with this, right? So this is very important, and this is a big exercise for us, right? Then we can make this an inclination of the mind, right? By practicing, by cultivating, by radiating these 4 immeasurable divine abiding meditation, right? That is loving kindness, compassion, right? Altruistic joys, and equanimity. Okay, 那么呢，其实我们说现在所面对的这个社会是非常多灾多难也不知道是你是庆幸还是不幸我觉得是庆幸的。为什么？至少有这个苦难呢才给我们一股的动力我们去修学佛法。因为佛陀呢的教法呢非常适合在这种动乱的这个年代所以呢不管未来面对怎么样的一个情况 OK， 那么我们最重要的就是保持心的这种平静。那要怎么来保持这个心的平静呢？就是要修这个4无量心4 immeasurable thought 这4无量心呢就是慈悲喜舍的方法。OK， 所以呢我们待会呢我带大家做一个很简单的这个修学，那也希望你们可以把这4个示范做的修学呢 把它背下来或者记下来哈，然后每天早上你们在做功课的时候呢，把这个示范住也把它变成你的新的倾向哈，也把它变成你的这个功课。OK， we can recite 它。Ahang avero homi abhiya pajo homi anigo homi suki attanang pariharami. May I be free from danger. May I be free from mental suffering. May I be free from bodily suffering. May I be able to look after myself happily. 愿我的心中没有仇怨，没有嗔恨，没有恼害。愿我守护自己的安乐。Karuna Sabbe Satta Alabha Pamochantu Ayasa Pamochantu Ninda Pamochantu Dukkha Pamochantu 一切众生，愿他们免除损失，免除孤寂，免除责备，免除苦难。May all beings be released from lost, be released from obscurity, be released from blame, be released from suffering. Mudita Sabbe Talad Sampatitoma Vigachantu Lada Yasatoma Vigachantu Lada Pasani Satoma Vigachantu Lada Sukama Vigachantu 一切众生，愿他们财富享用不尽，尊贵为人所敬，名誉远播不绝，常住于安乐中。May all beings continue to have whatever gains they have acquired. May they continue to have whatever fames they have acquired. May they continue to have whatever praise they have acquired. May they continue to have whatever happiness they have acquired. Upekkha Sabbe Satta Kamma Sakam Kammadayadam Kammayoni Kammabandhu Kammapatisaranam Yang Kammang Kare Santi Kalayana Vapapakang Vang Tasadayada Bhave Santi 一切众生受业感生，为业自是，业依复处，业患生处，业所归处，故当承受过去所造一切善恶之业。When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of the action and inherit its result. Their future is born from such action, companions to such action, and its result will be their heirs. All action with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such act, they will be their heirs. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so now if you have any questions or things to share with us, okay, you are welcome now at this Q&A session, right? So not just only asking questions, but I think sharing is also very important because your story can inspire people.
Brothers and sisters, so now is the Q&A and also the sharing sessions.
Just seriously.
Rachel?
Yeah, Brother Woon.
Bhante, permission to speak.
Okay.
Bhante, it's a wonderful talk. When tonight be the MC, I will highlight to the participants that they should download this track to listen over and over again. And probably the topic should change to how to be a material Buddha. So Bhante, my question is, this in the getting rid of resentment, the number 5, Kamasaka. This Kamasaka referring to, let's say, we and the other party, something happened. So we so-called blame it or put it on our karma or his karma.
Both.
Both.
First, contemplate yourself. I should gratitude to him, right? For you see, what do you call? Just I have said, like someone scolding you, right? Then you can contemplate thanks to him for getting rid of your karma, right? And then I think both is very important. Say because what is this? This karma, that is to keep your mind at the what do you call it? The balanced states of, and balanced state of mind, right? That arises on seeing that all beings will reap the consequences, of your good and bad action, right? And then if you understand like that, your mind will get disturbed, right? Even at the time when people criticizing you or scolding you, your mind also can remain calm and equanimity, you see. So I think this is very important, and you should also have gratitude to him for clearing your karma, right? And of course, you have to feel very sorry to him at the same time also because he is creating a new karma. Okay, so in that way, you can keep a balanced state of mind. I think that is very important. So to me, the karma is both sides. Yeah, both sides.
Rachel, some questions in the chat box.
Bhante, please share difference between Karuna, compassion, and the BT, sympathy. Thank you.
Oh, I think it's a matter of English. Yeah. So we talk about the equanimity. Is it you're talking about the joys? Is it? Sorry.
Karuna, compassion, comparing with the pity, sympathy.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I think compassion, you see the sympathy also like that, isn't it? The meaning you have sympathy to others, you see, it's also fall under this Karuna. Huh?
I think for Chinese,
Yeah,
pay is the same. Yeah, but
yeah,
English, maybe the choice of words. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a choice of word. Yeah, you're right. Okay, because sympathy is also can be expressed like pay, pay compassion. Huh? So, okay, so why isn't it free from the physical and mental suffering? Metta sounds like Karuna. It's okay. This is also another expression, but when you're talking about the mental and physical, the suffering, you are referring to, the whole, the physical, mental aspect. Okay, the whole individual. Okay, so usually when we talk about the, we will use this physical and mental together. So it's anyway, this is a matter of English. Okay, it's a matter of English.
Bhante, I missed the first one.
Oh,
I think Sister V mentioned that you have mentioned this afternoon about the latent tendencies, the Si Chi, about anger and methods to manage the anger. So could you please explain some of the reflections techniques used by the Buddha to eradicate the latent tendencies?
Okay, yeah.
When he
I
was
think
still
in
the
my
Buddhist
lectures, it's just like in my talk, I have already mentioned, you see, you know, they call the right thought is basically, it's a method to, you know, overcome, you know, this latent tendency. Is it the habitual tendencies? Okay, as you can eradicate the greed, you know, the ill will. Okay, it's basically you also eradicate some other subtle defilements that are associated with them. Okay, so yeah, the method of loving kindness and compassion still very relevant. It's in this context. Okay, especially when you talk about the latent defilement, well, you can think of the latent defilements, you know, when people, you know, have angry with you, the anger, that kind of angry is so deeply rooted in that person. You see, that probably carried, you know, from the past life to this life. So I think, and why the method of cultivation is there, because we have to keep continuing cultivating your mind, be free from the anger. So in this way, slowly, you know, your defilements such as a great hatred and delusion can be removed, you know, what do you call, gradually, gradually. It's not like the defilements like, you know, this right view, or you see these right views, you know, you can abandon immediately when you see the truth, right? When you see things as it is. But this kind of great hatred and delusion is there. It's not easy. So that requires a lot of cultivation, the power of cultivation. And we talk about the power of cultivation, right? The important methods, techniques is this, you know, the loving kindness and compassion. Okay, so they are very essential in our practice. You see, even the Buddha's disciples, you know, most of them, you know, dwell in this Brahma Vihara, right? In the state of this Brahma, divine abiding. Even after becoming an Arya, yeah. So there still remain some subtle defilements like great hatred and delusion. So they have to continue, you know, overcoming them. It's not easy. That requires, what do you call, life after life. That's why being a Sotapanna, you know, you still remain another 7 lives, right? And what this 7 life meant for you, continue your practice, continue your cultivation. Okay.
I'm sorry, Bhante, can I talk?
Okay.
Yes, please, sister.
Yes, my question is actually related to conceit rather than greed, hatred, and delusion. So what does the methods or the techniques that the Buddha used when he was a Bodhisattva to basically eradicate some of to wear away the conceit?
It's not easy. This one is not easy. Yeah, I don't find very clearly, you know, the method found in the suttas, basically to overcome the conceit. But you know, when you talk about the conceit, there are many types of conceit, right? And of course, this conceit also associated with some other defilements. So say like, for example, if you eradicate the desire, you know, some certain degree of conceit also can be eradicated along with the eradication of the, what do you call, you know, the desire. Similarly to the loving kindness also, you see. So, but when Buddha talk about, you know, these 3 roots of these 3 root causes, they are referring to the great hatred and delusion. Yeah. Okay. So you don't find very clearly, even you become a Sotapanna or you become an Anagami, right? You look at the Anagami, the 3rd stage of sainthood, right? The 3rd stage of sainthood. You see, they said you have to continue overcoming your greed. You can see that the greed is very stubborn. It's so subtle underneath. You know, somehow you cannot detect it at all. But as you practice, the initial, feel other types of defilements like sensual desire, desire pertaining to the existence, the rupa and arupa. And you will find that as you continue your practice of loving kindness, some of these other types of defilement associated with it, like pride, also will eventually, slowly remove. Okay? Yeah.
Can I ask another question?
Hmm.
Yes, because I was reading this suttas on Bahya as well as Pukusati. So Bahya, I mean, Buddha basically just say one sentence to him: see as you see, hear as you hear, and that he got enlightened immediately. And both Bahya as well as Pukusati, they were practiced together in their past life. Pukusati, I think in the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta, where Buddha told him the 6 elements, the 4 elements plus space and consciousness. So when he died, basically both of them were killed by the stray cow, but one became anagami. The other one was enlightened arahant. So I just wonder at that point in time, what is the difference? Because both of them, they have similar background. They come back, reincarnate during Buddha's time, but why one become an anagami? Why was enlightened immediately? So something to do with their latent tendency. Thank you.
That also something to do with their past karma. Okay, something to do with their past karma. But you see the difference between this saint and others is that, you see, they have no anger, no hatred. That simply is the random of their past karma. So they have to experience their past karma. Okay, so I mean, you put that in brief lah. Put it in brief. Yeah, even just now, as I say, anagami. You see, they are supposed to become an anagami, but just because the karma ripens, so he has to kill by what do you call this cow. You see, that is due to the karma. Okay, of course, for an Arya, you see, for an Arya, say like become a Shotapana, they won't accumulate new karma. What they experience is their past karma. Okay, they have experienced the past karma. So whatever the experiences, whatever the thing that experience is due to the past karma. Okay, of course, once you become a arahat, all these past karma become withered away. You see. So I would simply, in brief, answer your question. That is due to the karma.
Okay, thank you. No further question. Thanks. Yep, Sadhu.
Thank you, Sister Wee. Thank you, Bhante. There's one question. I will further comment by G. I'm not sure it's brother or sister. Further to the question just now, you were saying sympathy is 可怜, isn't it? It's different because just now, G, brother G, I guess, is talking about Karuna, compassion, and pity, sympathy. So are they really different? G, would you like to unmute to talk or ask further or elaborate your doubts? Brother or sister? Okay, I think he's okay. He or she is okay. Yeah, thank you. Any more questions from brother and sisters? Okay, if no problem. You still can reserve the questions to the evening sessions, whereby we will start from 7:30. All right. Thank you very much, Venerable Bhante, for the very lively, very practical sharing on this, the cultivations of the 4 immeasurable thoughts. I think after listening, we know that it is still not easy, but what we have to do is continue to cultivate, continue to practice, continue to develop. All right. 感谢尊者的分享，关于慈悲喜舍的四无量心，是不容易，不过这就是我们成为人生的一个最终的目的。Thank you, Bhante. If no other questions, we will hang on. Yeah. We will encourage all the brother and sister to continue to practice bhavana, to continue to develop our 4 immeasurable thoughts. And let me just to highlight, the evening sessions will start from 7:30. It's not 8 o'clock. So tune in and you will see the program lineup is there, and let's complete the day of the Uposatha day by the evening sessions. All right. So before we end the sessions, let's put our hands in Anjali positions and express our thanks to Bhante by having 3 bounds. First bound, second bound, third bound. Okay, I like to quote what Bhante said. 减一分烦恼就长一分智慧. So let's practice bhavana to develop our wisdom. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so see you tonight. Yeah, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, thank you.